We are a music company. We distribute music online. We have a vision of providing Africa with easy and legal access to online entertainment, as well as a mission to be the primary Pan-African online content service by contributing structure, legality, and income to the sector. We have some huge targets that by 2025, we want to have 50 million monthly active users on our service, and we want to have a financially sustainable business, meaning we are an EBITDA positive. Our focus for the next 3 years is to deliver a locally relevant service to our users. It's to focus on our key markets, which is Kenya, Tanzania, Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa. And it is to deliver to increase the value for our users further by partnering with telecommunication partners and focusing on our premium services. I'm really excited to announce to you today that in our financial guidance for next year, we expect to grow our user numbers to 35 million monthly active users by June 2024. That's up from our expectation of 26 million for June this year, meaning that we are talking about a 35% annual growth from last year to this year, and a 7-fold growth since our IPO in 2020. We're also expecting to grow our revenues further. We expect to grow our revenue to between 2.5 and 3 million US dollars for the year that's ending in June next year, 2024. That's a 31% increase compared to this year we are in right now and finishing this week. And it's an 11 to 13 fold growth from since our IPO in 2020. This is some really exciting results. We are really excited to announce this further growth. And it's really a result of that this year has been really exciting. It's been full of exciting events throughout the year, and we managed to get within the expectations that we set for this year. We also expect to have an EBITDA between -1 to 1.1 million US dollars. That is a loss that we expect for next year. We continue to invest heavily in our growth. It's really important for us that we keep seeing our platform grow across Africa, and this investment into growth does mean that we are expecting a continuation of the losses we also have had in the last couple of years, with an objective of growing our footprint across the African continent. Just to highlight a few of our key areas, we do still expect to have a very strong focus on Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, and South Africa. This is 35% of the population of Sub-Saharan Africa, and it has a total population of 422 million people. We strongly believe that having a strong focus on these 5 markets is what's going to take us to our 2025 targets of 50 million monthly active users. Today we have 16.6 million users within these 4 markets. That's of March 2023. So we already have a significant presence within these markets. We also focus on driving our value per user through telco and premium products. We do believe that ensuring that we are continuously increasing our own value per user is of the benefit of both us as a service, as well as for many of our rights holders who are on our site, who of course wants to increase the revenue that they're making from their rights. We already have partnerships with Airtel, MTN, and Vodacom across the continent. The partnerships we have with these 3 partners gives us an additional a total user base of 185 million users, customers across Africa, who can now access our premium service. And how it works is that if you have a line from Airtel, MTN, or Vodacom, you can subscribe to our premium service. You pay through your airtime, and you get access to DJ mixes that we as Mdundo curate for our audience. We curate DJ mixes every single day in major styles of music. We have gospel, we have Afrobeats, we have hip hop, we have reggae, and many other of the major styles of music that are popular on our service. In our last half-year financial report, revenue from these partners accounted for 33% of all our revenue. That's a six-fold increase, or 600% from the same period last year. So we do see that partnering with telecommunication services as well as premium packages for our customers is the way to also drive revenues within our music service. We also have a very strong focus as Mdundo on focusing on delivering locally relevant service and locally relevant content. It's our experience that 80% of all the music that's being consumed in Africa is African music, 80%. So we think it's extremely important that we have a huge catalog of local repertoire, not only from the different countries, but also from the different regions within every single country. We are getting close to 500,000 African tracks that has been directly uploaded to our service, and in total they are uploaded by more than 140,000 artists who are using our service to distribute their catalog and to earn royalties on their music. Just lastly, I only have one slide left. Yeah, I can do it over for you. Very lastly, just to give you a introduction to the amazing management team that's making this happen. This year has really been amazing for Mdundo. We've hit a number of very key milestones, launched a number of new partnerships, which has been super exciting. And so besides myself, some of the key people here in our leadership team is that we have two management team members in Nigeria. That's Suwari, who's heading our marketing and partnerships, and it's Michael, who's heading our growth and product. And then here in Kenya, we have two members of our management team. We have Rachel, who's heading our advertising sales, and we have Wanjiko, who's heading our music licensing. And this is the team, together with a broader leadership team, that has taken us to this point, and that we expect in the next year to take us to our expectations for that year. With that, I would like to open up for questions. We are super excited about the progress as Mdundo for this last year, and it's a really big pleasure to be able to announce that we are continuing that growth into next year and expecting to get to the 35% increase in our annual growth in monthly active users, taking us from 26 million to 35 million by June next year. With that, I'll open up for questions. Yes?
My name is John Momo. My question is, what is your projections to the Kenya being your key market? What is your projections regarding the financing, especially the 5% tax on the digital tokens?
We do not do projections for each country, unfortunately, so we only look at it as a continent as a whole. But I want to say that Kenya has been a super important market for us. We are founded here. This is where we started. This is where our head office is. But we are seeing that as we have grown as a service, other markets are growing to similar size. So if we look at our user numbers, for example, we have 8.3 million users in Nigeria in March, whereas Kenya is around 3.5. So we do see that countries like Nigeria and also Tanzania, in terms of user base, is significantly bigger than Kenya is. That being said, we still see Kenya as an extremely important market for us, and we do expect to see continuous growth in this market. Any further questions? Yes?
Yeah, my name is from the Star newspaper. So I understand the current financial year that is coming to an end this month.
Uh-huh.
You had committed that you will be paying right holders
Yes.
So what will be the projection for the coming year?
The year is not over yet, so we are waiting for this year to finish in order to actually have an exact figure on how much would we expect to go to rights holders next year. So as soon as we finished this financial year, we'll be happy to also communicate such. At the moment, what I only have is our overall guidance for revenue for next year. However, it's key to notice that 50% of all our revenue is paid out to right holders. Yes?
What is the micro and macroeconomic climate outlook in Kenya?
What's the what, sorry?
Micro and macroeconomic climate outlook.
Right. So for us, we actually see Kenya as a really exciting market, and that has been the case all along. I think for us, the major importance when it comes to the economic climate is to ensuring that we are offering something to our customers that is worth their while. Let's put it like that. So I think it's important that for us, and I think that's also why we've seen the growth that we've had, is that the individual consumer finds a music service that fits their individual needs. And I think we've tapped into a very big market across many countries, including Kenya, where we make it easier to get music from our side than it is to, for example, getting it from other illegal sites or illegal ways of consuming music. And what that has done is that we have managed to attract a lot of the users who would otherwise get their music illegally and manage to monetize that traffic so that the artists benefit from all those transactions. And that basically means that if we look at the users within Kenya, they are already consuming music, they are already actually listening to music, but we are just doing it now in a way that the artists are benefiting from. And that basically means that the both micro and macroeconomic situation right now is not as important to us as it is to ensure that we have a shift from illegal sites into legal sites where rights holders are benefiting from the transactions and from the downloads and from the streams that are taking place. Thanks.
You say 80% of music consumed in Africa is African.
Yes.
How about in
Yes, so we do see it vary a little bit from country to country. We see Nigeria and Tanzania being some of the highest ones. But what is interesting across all of them is that we do see 80% across every single market. But markets like Nigeria and Tanzania, we see it being even higher. Also, if we break it down to domestic versus Pan-African, we do see that in Kenya, it's a lower percentage that's Kenyan. It's about 53, 54%. Whereas in the other markets, you'll find that the domestic, so Nigerian music in Nigeria and Tanzanian music in Tanzania, is higher. To me, though, it's still very important to emphasize that it still is more than 50% in Kenya that's Kenyan music. So I do actually think we see a very high percentage of music in Kenya being consumed is Kenyan music being consumed. And if you compare it to other places in the world, globally, it's actually a very good rate. Because pretty much no matter where you go in the world, you'll find a big chunk of music being international. I also think what we see as a platform that's really exciting is the popularity of what we call hyper-local music or vernacular music. So if you see some of our charts, you'll find a high percentage of maybe Kikuyu gospel, maybe Kamba music, Luo music, which is performing very well on our site. And that to us is a very interesting fact. So that's something that we really focus on to ensure that we can offer such catalog to our users.
Okay, last year you mentioned that Nigeria was the leading country with the most number of active users on your site.
Yes.
Now, how do you saying that Tanzania has also come up? Are you saying that Tanzania has surpassed Kenya because Kenya last year was ranked second?
Tanzania in our March numbers had surpassed Kenya. I think it's important to note that the population is bigger. So even if like Tanzania is 10 million or so more than Kenya, Nigeria is maybe 6 times bigger than both Tanzania and Kenya. So it doesn't necessarily mean that our service is bigger in that market. We do see that our brand recognition and our footprint in Kenya as Mdundo is very noticeable, and we see that also in our advertising partnerships, that we work with major advertisers and clients in Kenya who are really seeing how we have this massive Kenyan user base. But yes, because of the volume of the population, we are seeing that Tanzania and Nigeria is bigger in terms of user numbers, and you'll probably see that other African territories over time will probably surpass as well because they have a bigger population. Mdundo, however, is started here, so our initial growth was in Kenya, and this is where we have in the past had the biggest market.
Okay, how does Mdundo's financial performance compare to its competitors for African music services in the industry?
Our service is performing extremely well, and we are very happy with both our user growth and our revenue growth. We are a public listed company, and what that means is that we are announcing our finances as well as our user numbers on a regular basis. Most of the other distribution or music services are not, so that basically means they are not releasing their user numbers or finances. So for that reason, we obviously don't really know how they are performing. But what we can be happy about is that we are seeing this continuous growth.
Okay, welcome to Kenyan Mziki, and we are in the news. My name is Katus Promo from Kenyan Mziki. What does know you as?
My name is Martin. I'm the CEO at Mdundo.
Okay, currently, can you provide the overview journey of Mdundo in Kenyan industry?
Well, we've had a long journey at this point. We started in 2012, but I'm extremely excited that we are now I think a household brand in many of our key markets in terms of our penetration, our brand recognition. And it's been an extremely exciting journey the right 10 years, not only because of our own journey, but also because we've seen the African music industry has grown with a rapid speed in the last 10 years.
Okay, how was Mdundo contributing on Kenyan industry, the growth of the Kenyan artists?
Well, I think first and foremost, we do pay out quite significant royalties. So this year we expect to pay around $1 to 1.2 million US dollars out in royalties. That was communicated back in July, and so I think the major contribution, in my point of view, is the financial. But on top of that, we're also really excited to offer an alternative for users to get their content from a legal service rather than from illegal websites.
Okay, what are specific measures have you tried to protect the music piracy in Kenyan artists?
So I think the best way to combat piracy is to offer a very appealing alternative. And so I think that's what we have done as Mdundo. And if you make a service that is easier to use, better user experience, and benefits the artists, that to me is the best way to contribute. On top of that, of course, we have a number of regulatory work ahead of us, and we try and ensure that we are engaging in all possible initiatives that takes place. We are a part of Partners Against Piracy and a number of other movements that aim to improve the environment for Kenyan and African artists.
Okay, what are the challenges you face in Kenyan industry?
I think to me there are some major challenges. I think the major one is that we still have a lot of customers and users across Kenya who are not online yet and who does not have the required internet packages, to consume music. And that is a major challenge. I think if we saw that everyone across Kenya was on the internet and had unlimited data, then we would see a massive growth in music consumption as well as in royalties for artists. Fortunately, we are on an upwards going curve, and we are seeing this taking place and expect that to continue in the next couple of years.
Okay, another question is, what what roles do Mdundo play in promoting or showcasing diverse African music beyond?
Well, I think as a platform, we of course play a major role in that. We ensure that we curate and present vast differences in terms of music. And I think if you look at a music service comparison to, for example, radio, there's already a massive possibility in terms of showing diversity. Because on a radio, you can only play one song at the time, whereas at a music service, you can be listening to reggae and I can be listening to gospel at the same time. So as a music service, by offering a vast variety of music, it will really help in order to ensure that we demonstrate a vast kind of styles and music out of Kenya.
What are your future plans maybe to expand within Kenya or beyond?
So we focus on our 5 key markets, which are Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, Nigeria, and South Africa. And we continue to focus on growing within each of those markets.
Okay, what message will you give to Kenyan artists who don't know more about Mdundo or about music distribution in any market?
Well, I think the main message to Kenyan artists is to be super proud of what you're delivering. I think we see that there is a tendency of Kenyan artists beating themselves down, and I don't think that's at all necessary. I think we have amazing music coming out of Kenya. I think we have a lot of amazing content that is coming out of Kenya. The production quality out of Kenya is very good. So I think for Kenyan artists, just keep pushing out your music. Stay true to your own message and to your own brand, and I think we will see a very exciting movement in the Kenyan music industry over the next couple of years as well.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll keep supporting Mdundo as you keep supporting Kenyan music industry beyond. May God bless you.